Our sleep schedule can easily be disrupted. Small disturbances, from missing our bedtime to the food we eat to stress, can all interfere with our sleep. But when we travel, all three of these small disturbances can become a big problem. Maintaining our regular sleep schedule while traveling is difficult. We may miss our bedtime because of our travel itinerary. We might eat different food, and while traveling is fun, it's often incredibly stressful. Keeping our regular sleep schedule is important. If we can do that, our body will be happier and will feel better while traveling. But like I said, this is undeniably difficult. I've been fortunate to do a lot of traveling and have found ways to combat traveler's fatigue. So today I'm going over 5 tips for better sleep when traveling. Hey everyone, my name is Matthew and welcome to Calm Insomniac, where we're a community of people trying to get a better night's sleep. If you enjoy learning about sleep health, sleep tips, and relaxing classical music, then please subscribe with notifications on. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a like, as it greatly helps out the channel. I've been fortunate to do a lot of traveling, both domestically and internationally. As you can imagine, or already know, domestic and international travel are quite different. There's no doubt that domestic travel is easier logistically, mentally, and in terms of our sleep. The majority of these tips come from my international travels. Now, this doesn't mean these tips won't work for domestic travel, but when we think of travel affecting our sleep, I would argue that most people are referring to jet lag. In the continental United States, the time difference between the east and west coasts is only 3 hours. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a significant difference that can affect our sleep. But in my experience, I've only had severe jet lag from my international travels or going to Hawaii. And the final caveat I'll mention is I don't try to adjust my sleep schedule prior to traveling. I don't shift my sleeping or eating schedules to my destination's time zone. I'm sure that making a gradual adjustment before traveling is healthier, but this isn't something I have ever tried before. So let's get started with our first tip, which is to sleep on the plane. I have trouble sleeping anywhere, anytime, except on an airplane. It may take me hours to fall asleep at home, but on an airplane I can fall asleep in 5 minutes. If you're on an international flight, the cabin crew will begin adjusting you to your destination's time zone. They do this by having us eat and sleep at the appropriate times. For example, on an overnight flight from New York to London, soon after takeoff you will be served dinner, and not too long after that the cabin lights will dim for sleep. Depending on your flight's departure time, your eating and sleeping might be at an unusual time. But here's why it helps us. When we wake up in the morning over London, we will have hopefully slept through the night on London's time zone. This should make it easier for you to step off the plane awake and ready to start the day on a brand new time zone. Unfortunately, many people have trouble sleeping on airplanes, including most of my family. And this is understandable because airplanes are noisy and uncomfortable and stressful for some people. If you have any fear or anxiety about flying, then definitely speak to your doctor about how to calm your nerves. How to sleep on an airplane is worthy of its own video, but here are some quick tips. First, use the provided pillow on an international flight. Now, this isn't a very comfortable pillow, but it's better than nothing. Second, wear an eye mask, and sometimes this is also provided by the airline. And this is good because you can block out any distracting light. And finally, if you need it, consider wearing some noise-canceling headphones. Our next tip is to immediately start your activities. When we get off of a long flight, it's tempting to sleep as soon as we reach our hotel. But this is a very bad idea and will make it really difficult to get adjusted to the new time zone. If we take our New York to London example, let's say you arrive in London around 7 a.m. and you reach your hotel around 9 a.m. At this point, it's about 4 a.m. back in New York. But if you sleep at 9 a.m. London time, this will make your first night's sleep a disaster. This is because you are sleeping according to your previous time zone and not the current one. So when you try to go to sleep at 10 p.m. London time, your body still thinks it's 5 p.m. back in New York, and you're probably not going to be able to fall asleep. Obviously, it may take a few days for your body to fully adjust to a new time zone. But starting your activities right away and pushing through the initial fatigue will make the rest of your trip much easier. The first day will be difficult, but force yourself to stay awake until it's a normal bedtime in your current time zone. The first time I went overseas, I went to Spain on a school trip. As soon as we got off the plane, our tour guides made us tour and walk around the entire day. By about 4:30 p.m. Spain time, we were all exhausted and could barely stay awake. But we pushed through, and the next day we were all pretty much adjusted to Spain's time. Our next tip is to eat at the right times. Our sleeping schedule and eating schedule are connected. We want to feel satiated at night, but we also don't want to eat too close to bedtime. Eating kickstarts our metabolism, which is a process that increases our body temperature. And when we're trying to go to sleep, we want to lower our body temperature. When you reach your destination, eat according to your new time zone. Again, the first day this may be difficult, but it's better to get all of our body's processes adjusted to the right time as soon as possible. To do this, try planning your first day's meals in advance. Make a lunch and a dinner reservation. This will hopefully force you to stick to the new time zone's eating schedule, and this also gives you an opportunity to sample some local cuisine. And speaking of cuisine, I'd personally recommend avoiding anything too exotic for the first 24 to 48 hours. Now, if you can handle it, then great. But for a lot of people, exotic cuisine may upset your body in all kinds of ways you aren't expecting, and this can certainly interfere with your sleep. Our next tip is to make your hotel room comfortable. Now, whether you stay in a hotel or an Airbnb, a hostel, or even a friend's house, make sure you feel comfortable where you sleep. The first way to do this is to stay somewhere you feel safe. If you're staying with friends or family, then this shouldn't be a problem. But if you're visiting a place you've never been to before, make smart choices about where you stay. If you feel comfortable renting an Airbnb, then great. But if you feel more comfortable staying at a hotel chain, like a Hilton for example, then do it. Peace of mind will make a huge difference. Next, make sure your hotel room is at a comfortable temperature. When we sleep, we want to sleep in a cooler environment, though I feel like every time I walk into a hotel room, the air conditioning is blasting a freezing temperature. Most hotels will have a thermostat that you can adjust, so make any necessary changes for you. And finally, if you need it, request a quiet room. This isn't always possible, but many hotels have rooms that are quieter than others. This might mean they don't face a busy street or they're further away from the elevator. And in any case, it doesn't hurt to ask. And our final tip is to go outside. When we travel, we need to adjust our circadian rhythm as quick as possible. In fact, our circadian rhythm is the reason we experience jet lag, because our body's internal clock is set to one time zone and it doesn't like change. That said, going outside and enjoying the sun is a way to speed up this process. Our circadian rhythm is controlled by the light-dark cycle of the world around us. A simple way to begin resetting our circadian rhythm is to expose ourselves to bright light during daytime hours, and even better, natural sunlight is preferable. We tend to do a lot of our traveling during the summer, and this is easier because the days are longer as long as we stay in the same hemisphere. Traveling during the winter is a little harder because the days are shorter, and I personally experienced this when I traveled to Russia in mid-March, and remember that Russian winters last a long time. So go explore a neighborhood park or a town square or go to the beach. And even if you don't have definitive plans, just make sure you get outside for a while. Alright, those are 5 tips for better sleep when traveling. Sleeping while traveling can be a difficult adjustment at first, And since traveling isn't our permanent situation, we're looking to mitigate negative side effects as much as possible. These tips will hopefully help you get adjusted to a new time zone as quick as possible. Just remember, you might not get the best sleep as if you were at home, but this will hopefully be good enough for a short time. Let me know in the comments below, what is your worst experience with jet lag? I'm curious to know because sometimes those stories can be really funny. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Pinterest, check out my website, and join my email list. All of those links are down below. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more sleep tips, then check out this playlist right over here. And if you missed my last video where I discuss how to get your sleep schedule back on track, then check out this video down over here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.